One thing I have learned is never, 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 never give up.
There can be few things that are changing more swiftly than video technology.
I love television.
Not only in creating programs, but in transmitting them.
Learn your lines back to front, inside out, so that you could actually do them backward really, really fast. Get someone to test you endlessly. My poor sister.
Paramount focus of any cinematographer is you writing with imagery.
As a movement director, as opposed to a choreographer, I'm working with the bodies and with the context and with the story and the narrative and with the director on how best to tell that story.
Remembering your lines is not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, right.
I tend to like scripts that are particularly where I think costume can be really expressive.
You have to evoke emotion in your audience.
The best lighting people in the business work on RuPaul's Drag Race. It takes a certain kind of lighting to create the illusion.
I became a presenter because I have no other transferable skills.
Right, create your own work, like literally create your own work.
There's this amazing thing called a remote control, and if someone doesn't like it, they can just move away from you. You're all you've got, so just be yourself.
Oh, we're all in together. Hello. Okay, I think I'm just off. Hi, everyone. Oh, that's nice. Claps on entry. Lovely. It is lovely, I know. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Good. I know Sunday, a little bit tired, but we're here. Welcome to Guru Live. Just so you know, we are live, so if you want to pick your nose, dig out a wedgie or anything like that, do it discreetly, unless you don't mind. Welcome our panel, everyone. Okay, so we have, to get the job titles absolutely correct, Tom Gould, exec producer, Helen Kruger-Bratt, production exec, Richard Cowes, who is creative director, entertainment at ITV Studios, is a big boss over here, yeah. And of course, Jack and Dani, winners. Yeah. I don't know what, sorry, I should have given everyone a clap.
Yeah, just winners.
And Caroline Flack, the excellent presenter, face of the series. Okay, so now we're all cozy. I suppose this question is more aimed at you guys here. Love Island as a series, what makes it so special and stand out from any other reality show on TV? Because we have millions at the moment.
Is that good to me? Right, okay.
We'll turn to you.
I guess I think the subject matter is something that is so... You can connect. Anyone that you like knows what it feels like to be in love, to fall in love. And I think Love Island, you are watching over 8 weeks, 2 people... are winners, yeah. But lots of people, everyone is falling in love in real time, and that's quite a special thing to watch. When they all go in there as singles, there's that awful moment where you all couple up and you're kind of, that instant sort of, if it was Tinder, you're swiping left or right as to who these people are in front of you. And then in 8 weeks' time, you've got 2 people who are in love and hopefully more. So yeah. I think that falling in love in real time is a really kind of strong thing that sort of sets it apart from everything else.
Yeah. And do you remember, because obviously it started ages ago, there was a Celebrity Love Island as well. How much has it developed since then?
So that was in 2005. And then in 2015, we redeveloped it for ITV2. And so the idea was ITV2 is a channel for 16 to 34-year-olds. And so the idea is, how do we reimagine Love Island? Love Island was the format that everyone kind of slagged off at the time, but loved. So you'd go in and you try and pitch all of these ideas. Have you got anything like Love Island? And you go, well, we've got Love Island. And so they kind of said, yeah, we like it, but it didn't do very well. So anyway, ITV2 said, how do you turn Love Island into, or what can you do to attract this audience? We said, well, we've got Love Island and we can totally redo it, reimagine it for this audience. And we did that, and we kind of pitched them a new version of it. And it's, seems to have gone quite well.
And here it is now. Yeah, because I've been watching it probably for the last 3 years, and even since then it's changed so much. I feel like this last year, the year before, seeing how much it took over social media and just like, you couldn't escape it. That was the first conversation you have in the hairdressers when you're in a taxi, like, are you watching Love Island? Oh my God, I love it. And it completely took over. When do you think that change came? Why did it happen then and not before?
it's been a gradual thing, and I think you know, any digital channel sort of takes a bit of time to get an audience to it. But you mentioned social media, and that's been a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
And it was something, you know, Tom and the other producers that were involved at the very beginning, we kind of thought, you know, this is the medium. And actually, when we pitched it, we kind of said, we don't want celebrities. We want to create celebrities. Celebrities for this audience exist on social media. They don't exist as sort of in a traditional way, in the way that we used to think about it. And we wanted to take people who kind of existed in that world or could exist in that world, put them on this platform, and then, you know, then they become bigger, and they do become celebrities, and it becomes a bigger thing. But I think, you know, that was really important, was putting social media at the heart of it, and that has just grown each year.
Yeah. We're going to touch on social media a bit more in a bit. But Caroline, when you joined the show, 2015 you joined, right? Yeah. How was that for you? Did you know initially in your mind this is going to be a massive thing, or was it kind of umming and ahhing about it? How did you feel when you got asked?
No, I mean, it was a no-brainer as soon as they said Love Island, because I watched it in the first place. But actually, I couldn't do it because I was doing X Factor at the time. Okay. And my agent says, you've been offered to do Love Island, but we're not going to be able to fit it in. And I was like, well, can't we try? And he's like, no. And I kept going back to him, well, I think I'd rather do Love Island. And they're like, no, you've got to do X Factor. I was like, well, can we try it? And we really did, went back and forth. And we managed to do it. Simon Cowell very kindly let me have a few days off, which was nice of him and unusual. But I'd worked with these guys before on one of my first live TV shows, and it was Doing the Jungle. And when you work with a team like this, you always fight to go back and work for them again because they're the best. Yeah. And I knew the show was going to be reactive. I knew the show was going to be live, and that's the kind of thing I like doing best. And it was about love. Yeah. So I wanted to do that as well. And I think you touched on it earlier when people relate to the love side of things, but I think also people really relate to the heartbreak side of Love Island, and people are also having their heart broken, and you watch and you think, hold on, I've been through that, and I feel like that. So yeah.
You were connecting with everybody in there.
Everybody, yeah.
Do you get any chance to speak to the contestants or islanders back, like when we don't see it on camera?
No. No, I only go in with what you see. Okay. And what was nice actually from season 2, because season 1 I never went into the villa. Yeah. They always came out to me, and actually it really helps going into the villa, because part of, I guess, when they come out is that they trust me. I think that's really important, isn't it? So when you come out,
you've got nowhere, didn't you?
Yeah. It's really important to have that trust, not just with the audience and the viewers, but with the islanders, because they've got to be able to talk to you, not be scared of you and think you're going to kind of ask them intimidating questions. Yeah. That's not what the show's about. So yeah, so it's nice to go into the villa to get to know them.
You'd get the moments when people would be like, oh no, Caroline's coming, what's going to happen now?
She comes out of nowhere, you turn around, she's there, you know?
They used to cheer when I walked in. Yeah. It's got worse.
Yeah.
People were just like,
Graduates, oh God, she's here again.
Yeah, because being in the villa, do you have any idea when she's coming in? Are you kind of minding your own business?
Literally, one time I was on the daybed, right? I remember just laying there, and I turned around, and she was just there. Just out of nowhere. You don't know, she just comes out of nowhere.
Just having a sunbathe. Brilliant. And there's Caroline.
Brilliant.
Interruption.
Yeah.
And in terms of when you're filming the eliminations and everything like that, is that completely live, or do you have to stop and start? Is there discussions in between? Do people get taken out at any point?
No, I have to, I have one chance to deliver that news. You can't deliver news twice.
No.
It's impossible, which is the beauty of live TV. But obviously you have to pre-record these moments. I have to, you've seen it, I literally can't look them in the eye because you give it away. So I walk in, I've got my head down like that.
Yeah, you do, you look down those cards like that.
I have to put my serious head on, which is hard. I have to be, because it's tense and it's not very nice. And there was a time this year, and it was when you walked in back from Casa Amor. I know he's going to walk back in. But I can't tell Dani that. Yeah. I want to go up to her and give her a hug.
Trying to get something from her eyes.
What would you do if he comes back? I'm like, don't cry. I really wanted to cry.
Yeah. Because it must be intense knowing what's going to happen and seeing the reactions of the islanders and being like, I just want to give you a hug. It's fine. You're going to be okay in 2 seconds. You've got to hold it in.
Absolutely. I think season 3 with Camilla, when she'd had her heart broken by Johnny, every girl who was watching that show wanted to give Camilla a hug, and including me, but I couldn't. I had to walk in there and just not even give her
a face. And Helen, how about the stats, everything that goes on behind the scenes? How many cameras are in the villa?
So there's 73 cameras around the villa.
She's shocked.
I didn't know there was that many.
There's one in the toilet. One of those
shots. Like no, we don't have one in the loo. So you have your hide cameras, which are your really high-end cameras. So we will have 4 of those. We'll have 6 positions, but there'll be 4. There's a jib that we will move across to film challenges each day. Then we have lots of small cameras, hidden cameras, your little pool, the pool cam that you see. So in terms of a technical
You just forget
setup,
they're there, though.
yeah, exactly.
At the start, like the first couple of days,
Yeah.
there's a camera. In the end, you literally don't even know they're there.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
Engulfed.
So for us, in terms of, you know, from a tech rig point of view, well, first of all, we've taken an existing villa that is a lovely German family's pride and joy. It's their holiday villa.
So it's actually lived in before they go in?
Absolutely, and it is done. The spec to which it is done is very beautiful. There's some amazing rustic stone that everything has to be put back exactly as it is. So you can't just, you know, a typical TV studio, you'd be drilling holes left, right and centre. This, we have to really respect. So we extend the villa, but we have to put it back afterwards. So that's a challenge in itself. And then in terms of the footprint, we can only have a small amount of people based at the villa. So we have the gallery, the cameras, the challenge team, and then 4 kilometres away in a little villa, well, actually a concrete factory, it's very unglamorous, we feed all the material by microwave link to basically our production base. And there we have a very unglamorous, apparently we've bought Mallorca out of porta cabins, and we have all these porta cabins where we have the production team, we have the edit suites, we have an art department, you know, the workshop, they are building all the challenges that you see. So it's a massive setup, and then you're also competing with, you know, your weather. We have lightning storms, as we know, in Mallorca. It can be boiling. We've had to create little hoods for the cameras because they were overheating.
Oh, God.
So,
yeah, how do you do that when there is a storm and you're obviously filming every day?
Yeah.
You just ride for it? Because I don't remember really seeing any rainy days on the show.
Were a few at the beginning.
Yeah. There was one, I think there was one I remember. It was really like heavy rain.
It's
I
really
loved it. I was like, oh God, it's rain.
the cameras have little rain jackets as well, but we have a real, there's a real delicate point as to what point we think a lightning storm is too near, and it's all to do with distance away, and at times, you know, we would have to shut power down, but fortunately we've never got to that.
And how many people are on site while they're asleep and stuff?
So there, in total, there's about 200 of crew who work across the series at
Everyone's like,
base. Yeah, yeah, and just in terms of, I think that's the thing. It's, you know, something like that would be challenging in itself in the UK, but you've got, you know, you've got a Mallorcan team, you've got a UK team, and it's just, you know, the welfare of looking after people who are working away from home. A lot of the people have been there for 3 or 4 months, so, you know, that'll, you know, there's a lot of infrastructure that goes with it.
Yeah, because I was going to ask about the UK team as well. How involved are they? How often are you in communication with them every single second?
Oh, so yes, so I only go out for a little bit. I'm more of a supervisor. I can't take credit. But we will, you know, we are in touch a lot. We have WhatsApps going on all the time where we are, you know, there is...
TV would fall apart.
Yeah.
So, a million WhatsApp groups over every cabin.
So we have a little core team in the UK who will be always liaising with in terms of what bombshells are going into the villa. Are there any issues that need to be ironed out? Do extra people need to fly out? And then we obviously have your after-sun team as well.
Yeah. And how do you go about choosing a team like that? Is it people that you've used in years before, or do you kind of hunt out for new talent?
There's a real tried and trusted team that we work with, and it's really helpful and useful that they've worked in these reality shows before, particularly on location. And it's amazing to be able to have a team that can really hit the ground running. But at the same time as well, it's also good to get new blood in, new perspective, to keep it fresh, and also to offer, you know, career progression so that, you know, someone can start off at a certain level and come back the next year with more responsibility.
Gosh, there's a lot of people to oversee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's that one doing over there? On to casting, which is obviously massive. I don't know, is there anyone in the audience that would want to go on Love Island? Two? Okay, cool. How do you go about the process? Because that's essentially one of the most important things of the show, casting. And knowing how in demand it is now, there's going to be a lot of people that just want to go on for the follower side, but then there's people that genuinely want to find love as well. How do you decipher who's there for what? And basically just talk me through the whole process.
Yeah, well, obviously we opened the application process. We opened it at the end of the final that Jack and Dani won.
You can apply.
And we get inundated. Now we've got to a stage where last year we had over 100,000 people apply. And I would anticipate more this time round. But we do go out and approach people as well. So we will contact people through Instagram, through social media. Casting team will go out and meet people people, they'll go to clubs, they'll go to shopping centres, they'll go out and look for people as well. They'll contact modelling agencies, extra agencies, all sorts of things. We basically try any route that we can to find people. But then once that contact has been made, then the process is the same for everybody. So then they're invited to apply. They'll come in for an initial audition with the casting team. Then we, the exec producing team, will watch those initial auditions and then decide who we think we'd like to meet. And then people will come in and meet with us. And then through that process, we sort of whittle it down to actually quite a big pool of people.
What kind of questions are being asked in those audition stages? Is it like, okay, how many boyfriends have you had?
Everything.
Could you give us some examples?
Well, the key thing is, basically, you are obviously looking for people who are big personalities, who you know will go into the villa and can sort of hold their own in what is an incredibly intense environment. But you are also looking for people who are going to be open and honest about their feelings, and that is absolutely essential. If we didn't have that, if we didn't have people who were willing to open up to us, then we wouldn't be able to make the show, because we ask so much of you guys from that point of view. So a lot of the questions that we ask are going to be, you know, are these people comfortable talking about their love lives? Do we, you know, why did you break up with your last boyfriend? What's the most embarrassing date you've ever been on? All of the things that you would expect us to ask to really get inside and get an understanding of you know, these people's relationship history and what makes them tick and how they think they might be in the villa.
We want them to fall in love.
Yeah.
They have to be ready at that point. It's not about coming in and, you know, putting another notch on the bedpost. We want people to come in and genuinely want to find love. Do you remember your auditions?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you remember your process going through it?
Yeah. I was at work one day and I remember I got a message on Instagram just saying, oh, do you want to come to ITV Studios? I was like, oh God, really? I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know what to do. And then obviously went there and I just literally said, it was like just having a chat, wasn't it? Like, I'm so open about my feelings now. I'll say anything, I can say anything now. But yeah, just like chat about your life, really.
And how many questions do you remember feeling like, oh gosh, do I have to pretend, or were you completely yourself?
I was just completely myself.
Yeah.
I can't do anything other than that anyway. You know what I mean? It's just talking about literally like you know, past love life and stuff like that.
Did you ever have in your mind going in, like, okay, my life is absolutely going to change. Is there anything I need to hold back? Or were you just going to, like, take me as I am?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, just have me. Don't worry, just have me. Literally, yeah, I was just open, just like myself.
Yeah. And in terms of people being the actual casters, they are quite supportive throughout the process, aren't they? So they are trying to find out your personality, but they're going to support you through the whole process of it.
Yeah.
So how involved are you after you've actually cast the people?
Oh, massively so. And I mean, you know, we spend a lot of time chatting to anyone who's going to go into the villa about exactly what to expect from it. And the casting team become really good. You know, you build up really. You
need them to be your mate.
Yeah, and I think that relationship is so important. And then that continues once they're in the villa as well. And there's, you know, there is interaction with producers within the villa, and that's really important. And you guys need to feel supported while you're in there. So, and those relationships that have been built up over the time from the point of the first audition come into play. And that's how we sort of look after them.
And you got a mate for life then. Do you still keep in touch with any of the people that you met on the show backstage, like behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, we do, don't we?
We do.
We do.
We've got all their numbers.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have no one's number.
I was speaking to him yesterday. I was speaking to him yesterday, actually, just chatting.
It's at the final, he goes, what's your number?
We feel like part of a team. It's like a team, big team.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Good. And in terms of the casting, there was some criticism based on diversity in the villa and maybe different shapes and sizes, body image, race, etc.
I was in different shape.
Good on you. Yeah. How did you guys deal with that? And do you feel like there'll be any change in the future?
I mean, you know, when we set out, I suppose there are lots of subjects that you've sort of included in that. But I think what we try and do, first and foremost, we're casting for personality. And we want people that are, you know, 8 weeks of television, the people that we put in there have to be interesting, have to be able to hold your attention for that amount of time. But also, you know, we are creating a sort of slightly aspirational world. And there is no denying that everyone that goes in there is good looking and, but also, importantly, they fancy one another.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a group of people that are all kind of going to want to date one another. So in terms of the looks, we don't really, you know, we get a lot of criticism in the fact that we don't cast people, you know, who have perhaps slightly different body shapes or slightly different things. We try to, and we do, you know, and I think if you were to go back over all of the series, you'll find that there is a variety, but everyone is good looking. In terms of diversity, we try and cast the most diverse cast that we can. You know, and I think that if you look back over the whole series and the people that go in and out, it was a diverse cast. I'd love it to be more diverse, and I think we struggle sometimes to attract people from certain backgrounds, and we're always working on that, and a lot of our team and a lot of the team that we employ within the casting team are diverse as well, because we're trying to tap into as many different groups as we can, but ultimately we can only go from the pool of people that apply.
Yeah.
You
So
know, it's the
guys,
truth of it.
apply if you want to be on the show. There we go. And beforehand, I know she's taken all of the notes. I know we did just touch on how supportive everybody is before you go into the show, but what kind of process do you go through with that? Because, I mean, it does change people's lives completely in terms of preparing to be in the press and, I don't know, like internet backlash or anything like that. What's the process with preparing people for that?
Yeah, so we, obviously, you know, our casting team really talk about what the impact is likely to be of taking part on the show. We also have a team that will also look over previous social media posts, at least kind of from the last 5 years and more, just to think, is there anything in there that, you know, could come out? And also, we take, you know, very seriously, we've got a duty of care to protect everyone, and is it appropriate? Then you have a medical test. You meet with our consultant doctor. And also we have a psychoanalyst who will also meet and assess and look at, is it appropriate? Is it the right thing? Is it the right fit? Is there going to be any negative impacts? And so we really talk it through, and then we keep in touch. We have a real small core team who will always be talking about welfare. And we have on site a medical team and also the psychoanalyst as well. And she will be always watching what's going on in the show. Are there any signs? Does she need to kind of check in? And then I think you would say as well that when you kind of leave, you then have a debrief conversation. You meet with the team. Our press team are really supportive. Again, give out all their numbers, And then it's just about always keeping in touch. You know, when we have, you know, some of our team will just be sort of monitoring people's social media and think, are they okay? I think we need to just check in, and we offer up follow-up chats or conversations throughout. It doesn't really sort of end. We just like to always keep in touch.
Yeah, so you're fully supported the whole time. Which
Really are.
No.
Like every aspect.
Still supported now?
Yeah. I'm still supported now. I've not left yet.
In the building. On to storytelling and the stories that you choose to follow throughout the whole thing, because you always forget watching the show that it's actually on 24 hours, but you only show an hour. So squashing everything down to an hour, knowing that there's these people talking the whole time, I'm sure there's loads of things that happen. Who decides what gets put into the show and what gets cut out?
Well, it's very much a team process. You know, it starts in the gallery. You've got story producers, gallery producers who are watching everything that these guys do. That is then fed back over to the edit suites at the concrete factory, and that's where the discussion between the gallery and the edit is where the sort of first stage of working out, right, which stories are we going to focus on today. As exec producers, we're then included in that discussion, and we sort of map out where we think the day might go, and then obviously we follow, because things always take a different path to what we expect. So it's a sort of constant feedback loop, really, between the villa and also the other thing that we've got, which does make us different from other reality shows, is we do have producers in the villa, and that allows us to it allows an interaction with the islanders, which is really crucial to us. It also allows us to get a sense of what's going on that we wouldn't otherwise get. If you guys just came into the beach hut and our only interaction with you was in the beach hut, I think we'd get a very different view to the fact that there are producers who do chat to you, who, you know, after breakfast might sit down with Dani and just find out, what is she thinking today? What, you know, how is she feeling about Jack? What does she want to happen next? All of that kind of thing. And the villa producer feeds into the gallery, into the edit as well. So all of the team are basically discussing all the time and trying to work out, and the off-rig team as well, who are the team that take people out on dates and things like that. And so it's a sort of ongoing process that never ends, basically.
Because you do always wonder watching, when do they eat? What's going on at the breakfast time?
Everyone says it. When did you eat?
It's because you get so invested in everybody's lives that you feel you know everything about them, apart from what they eat for breakfast and dinner, because you don't see that part.
We made that decision in Series 1, absolutely, that we weren't going to be interested in that side of their lives. Because that is very much something, and Big Brother did it and have done it for years brilliantly, but that is not what we're interested in. Every story that we cover has something to do with relationships, whatever that might be, but everything comes back to love.
Yeah. So does that mean when they are having breakfast and stuff, you have to interrupt their conversations if they're saying too much, or save that?
I think that the Islanders kind of get into a habit of...
We don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
We'll talk for a little while.
Breakfast is the only meal you actually do see. Yeah, they sort of wander down and make their own breakfast.
Toast and toasties were popular this year, wasn't it?
Yes.
It took me ages.
I've never ate so many toasters in my life. I love them.
Toasties on deck. What's actually in the kitchen? What are your options for breakfast?
Oh, like,
we just ask for stuff though sometimes.
We just ask in the
You can request.
You request what you want,
What was your breakfast?
I used to have avocado on toast with scrambled eggs.
Lovely.
Jam on toast. I used to mix it up a little bit, really. It used to be annoying because if you'd get up a bit later, you'd eat your breakfast and then lunch would come and you think, should I eat that? Yeah, I'm going to eat that.
It's like an old
How about you, Jack?
Yeah, I know.
I'll eat anything. I'll eat anything. I'll just switch it out every day.
Yeah.
If we had bacon, that bacon, that was it.
Like that. We used to have the bacon.
Yeah, I know.
Bacon was in high demand in the villa. Amazing. And with the storylines, how much intervention did you have? If something was going one way, would you kind of interrupt and say, oh, no, can you bring it back down to here?
I mean, I think, and we've said this before, that we will talk to the Islanders about how they're feeling, and so we will know what they're thinking, the conversations that they want to have, and to some extent we will have a hand in when some of those conversations might happen, but we absolutely never tell anyone what to say, what to think, or what to do. So everything has to come from within. But we've always been very open about the hand of the producer on the show. The voiceover, Ian Sterling's voiceover, acknowledges it sort of most episodes, and and I think that sort of allows the audience to step back slightly from what they're seeing and know that it is a produced reality show. We sort of sit somewhere between a more traditional reality show like Big Brother and I'm a Celebrity at one end, and then the more constructed shows like Towie or Geordie or Made in Chelsea at the other end. We sit somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. So we do, all of the things that we do to make the show, the format twists that we put in, the challenges that we put in, the new arrivals that we throw in, are all designed very much to sort of affect the course of the narrative. But in terms of what these guys, their reaction to those things are entirely their own.
And with the game, you're like, you had some good reactions throughout the show. Great one.
I can't hide it.
That's the thing, everything shows on the face. I feel like I'm quite good at stone facing, but you were literally...
Oh, I'm not. I'm literally just like, and I think, Dan, why did you pull that face all the time?
That's why we love you, though. It's good. With the challenges and the games and the stunts, who comes up with those, and how much thought goes into it before? Because you had some great ones in the previous years of whether they're going to carry on to the new series or leave them alone completely. There was one that didn't come in that was like, oh, I loved it so much, the talent show when they had to perform. That was one of my favourites. What made you...
And that was on the board. The way we work, it's an unusual way. It's certainly not a way that I've worked on any other show, where on other shows you might go into a series with a pretty good idea of what's going to happen on any given day. Don't do that at all on this show. We basically build up. We spend our pre-production period. We have a challenge team who come up with all of these ideas, and we basically have on our office walls a whole lot of challenges, a whole lot of potential new cast members, a whole lot of dates and off-rig events that we could do, and a whole lot of format twists. And we sit with a blank whiteboard and just think, right, what now? What's the best thing? Brilliant. What challenge is the right thing to put in today to try and push the narrative in a particular direction? Because the audience expect there to be constant drama, constant twists and turns, and so we sort of have to react to the storylines that are coming out of the villa, and then throw in whatever we think is the right thing at the right point.
Yeah, I suppose you can't pre-plan for that,
No.
can you?
No.
Like if someone kicks off last night, let's do a challenge that tests their buttons today.
Yeah. I mean, everything comes down to testing people as a couple. That everything that we do is about that.
It's like having an armory, and you're
Yeah.
just choosing, right, well, what weapon's going to work today
Yeah.
to try and test this lot.
Yeah. Jack and Dani, what were your favourite games in there? What was the one that tested you the most? I know that Casa Amor was a bit of a kick-off one.
Oh, yeah. Games and stuff. I just think like the Twitter one, that really annoyed me. Like, it's just like people's opinions, because you're like, yeah, I ain't bothered, but you can see that I'm very much.
Yeah.
You know? So it's these sort of games, but the other ones, you know, the eating challenges, they're gross, but they're funny because we talk about them all day. Like, you need things to just have a laugh, you know?
I dressed in little tiny pants.
Yeah, I love that.
And I thought, what are you doing? But I loved it in the end. I got so comfortable in them little pants, I didn't want to take them off. I just
It's got them on now.
Yeah, I've got them on now.
We actually have a clip, I think, from the Hot Stuff Challenge.
Oh, God.
This is tiny pants.
Is this really? Please tell
Can
me
we play the clip?
Someone say, there's a fire, baby. So, you know what? You're going to get all-out caramel action. Oh, it is a bit hot. Let's give him more.
It was like wet, and oh my God, I was like, I don't think it was possible to fancy worse any more than I already did. Oh my God! Yeah.
That's mine.
Oh my God, I keep reliving it in my mind. Beautiful.
Did someone call for Simon Sam? It's a bit nerve-wracking, but once the hips start going, you start getting into the rhythm, you know?
I was standing behind the door waiting for him to save me. Waiting a long time. If that was a real fire, I would have burnt to a crisp. Don't know why he was doing that when I couldn't even see. It was like having a snog in the rain. Very, very romantic.
I tried making it as sexy as possible. Whether that works or not, I don't know, but I gave it a go.
I felt a little bit like, oh, he's coming to get me. I really fancied him then, honestly. I don't know if it was the pants or not. He killed the cat!
I killed the cat, didn't I? So I had to hand a dead cat to Dani. What a present.
I love how everyone else saved it and I killed it.
That was so good. The games were incredible. I mean, watching them, you'd be like, come on. And the slow motion effects and everything like that really made it. Is it weird watching it back? Have you seen much of the show back?
It makes you emotional, though, because
I miss it now. Yeah, I do.
It's like watching someone else. It is. When I first come out, I was like, oh, I did it on the sly, though.
Secretly
I didn't want
watched
anyone to know. I thought it was like cringy.
Yeah. So have you watched the whole series then?
No, I haven't. I watched a few of them back, like people recommended me certain episodes.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you just don't do it. Because you think, I'll stop it now. Like, it's getting stupid.
I'm just watching me again. You know what I mean? Like...
Because I feel like that would be the first thing I did when I came out, like, oh my gosh, is there a nip slip or anything? Like, watching it all back. And going back to the new arrivals, do you remember how it felt having somebody new come into that villa? Was it a scary feeling? Were you more excited for new people? I mean, you two were kind of stable right from the beginning, so there wasn't too much concern. But I know for some of the other islanders, it was a bit like, oh, are they going to steal my man, woman?
Of course, it's always going to be scary when you get new arrivals. At the beginning, it does become so exciting, and you know the people that come in and out. You meet new friends, and it is great.
You want to
but
get
as
on with
time
them.
goes on, it's
You're all so
harder.
close, you know, and then...
Because you do start thinking when you have to sit down in a circle, you get all hot and that. You're like, so what's your type then? Who do you fancy?
Interrogation.
And then they say tall, dark, and handsome, and I think,
get out. So good. Because you were quite good with questioning the new people. You're right, and they're making them feel at home.
yeah, I wanted to. I always, you've got to get them on your side.
You used to grill them. You used to grill them. What's your top three? Yeah.
Yeah. And when you went out of the villa as well, because you go on your little shopping dates and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How was that experience? Did you have like massive security guards with you and stuff? Or Mallorca people didn't really know?
I didn't think they knew who we were, did they? Really?
No, I don't think they cared.
No, I don't really think they cared.
How often did you leave the villa? Was that just a one time for the shopping trip, or were you allowed out?
Just for dates.
Just for dates,
yeah,
really.
just for dates.
Yeah, and obviously when you go to the challenge stage and stuff. I love that little shopping trip, actually.
Yeah,
I'm just remembering it now.
It's a good memory for you too.
Yeah.
And when the people were coming in and there was new islanders, I was going to call them customers then.
Customers.
new customers came in, new islanders. Did you find it easy to make the bonds, or was it a bit kind of stiff? Because you know there's so many cameras around. You know that there's a bit of a pressure to maybe be like nice to them. You didn't want to show your side of like, oh, stay away from a man.
I'm always I like people. Like, I always want to get to know everyone, really. You want to make them feel comfortable.
And we've already forgotten about the cameras. When they come in new, we're already comfortable, so they sort of can relax
and they're
as well.
scared, they get all shaky. You think, oh no, calm down, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
But who was your type? Like,
Stay away from Jack. And back to the storyline, the I got a text situation. Do you know the text there before you shout out, I've got a text, or is that actually right in that moment, I have a text?
No, you just get a text. Like, you have your phone, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, who's that?
There's the text and the shouting. There was different varies of I've got a text,
Yeah.
shouting across the villa.
Yeah.
When you do get that text, what's the feeling that goes through your mind? Because it's never. Well,
I'm just like,
sometimes
please be good news.
Fingers crossed for
Yeah.
good situations. Caroline, back to you. When you are coming in and nobody's expecting you, do you ever feel awkward? Or are you just gonna like accept me, take me as I am, I'm coming in?
No, I get really excited.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching the show like everyone else, and I know that's going to happen. So I get really, really excited before I go in, and I'm standing outside, I've got an earpiece in, and it's literally like, right, 10 seconds, 9, 8, and then I walk in, and these guys are like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a serious point in the show, but because I'm, half presenter, definitely half viewer, for me, I get really starstruck with all the islanders, and the more I get to know them, the more exciting. You'd be the same if you went into that villa. It's a really exciting moment. But like I say, I have one chance to do it and deliver that news and then get right out. I suppose the most exciting thing is I don't know when I'm going to go in. So I'll be at home eating my cornflakes and I'll suddenly have a text saying, I've got a text. You need to be at the villa tonight because you've got a bombshell to drop.
Because I remember I saw you and you were like, oh, I'm flying back tonight, and then you're back in and you're up and down the whole time. Like, you are pretty much a jet setter for the whole of the series.
Pretty much. Sometimes I can go 2 weeks without going in, but I think it's got to be a surprise. I think if I went in every Thursday, everyone's like, oh yeah, Caroline's going in. It's quite nice when it's a surprise. So it's as much a surprise for me as it is for those guys. Yeah.
And Ian's involvement, obviously, he's a massive part of the show. He's absolutely hilarious. How much does he put into the script? Does he write some of it, or is it?
Yeah, he's part of the writing process. So there's basically Ian, and then there's Mark Cowley, who is our sort of script writer. And together, it's two quite grumpy Scottish people who are basically locked in a porter cabin. They're looking at everything and trying to find the worst thing they can say about everyone and everything. And then we tone them down, and these guys tone them down, and then their script goes on. But basically, their job, so much analysis is done on Love Island, but actually it's an entertainment show. And the idea is that for everyone that's watching, it's a little break from whatever your reality is, that you can go and watch it and you can have some fun. And there's so many big themes that are brought out of Love Island, but actually we're an entertainment show. And their job is to sort of poke fun at the whole process. It is fun. It is slightly ludicrous that you put these people in and then they do recoupling and dumping and all the rest. And it's fantastically, the emotional bonds are really, really strong. But we kind of like to have at its heart a little bit of fun and a little bit of it's ludicrous.
It's like with the lie detector, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the voiceover will say, we bought it off Amazon for like €10, and then everyone's like, oh, how factual is that lie detector? Actually, just about us sending ourselves up to some extent.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the show even better. The fact that it is light-hearted and you do have a laugh, as well as feeling so connected to the islanders. You go through heartbreak, but you are pissing yourself pretty much through the whole thing because of Ian and everything else. Onto social media and the fan feedback and everything. I'd say the last series before this one was when it really got massive online, and you couldn't escape it every time it was on. It was trending. My whole timeline would be about Love Island. Like, it was insane. Wasn't it the most tweeted about show ever or something? Yeah, incredible. So that's massive. How do you guys control all of that? Did you know you were going into how much influence? It's insane. Like, it's wild. Obviously, social media is getting bigger and bigger by the year, by the day. But when you're actually in it and you're a show that's so huge and based on that so entirely, how much do you add that to the show? Like, do you do things knowing that it's going to be big online, or is it just do your show and then...
I think you just have to kind of carry on with what you want to do and making the show the way that we want to make it, and let social media do, you know, what it wants to do. I don't think you can... the only thing I would say, and it's the only show where this is possible, because it's fast turnaround, it means that you sort of get instant feedback every night. So a show would go out, you'd see what the reaction was on social, and then actually that can then play into your planning for the next day. And that's really helpful. And that might be that you sort of see where people think you're going to go next, or what they think we're going to do next, and we do it. Or it might be the exact opposite of that, where people are all speculating that, oh, well, obviously they're going to do this next. And so because we know that, we do the exact opposite. Yeah. So it is, from that point of view, it is a really useful tool. Yeah. But I think in terms of all the sort of the controversies, it's what Caroline says, you know, everyone has such strong opinions about it, and everyone recognises the things that they see happening, the heartbreak that they see, and the way that people are behaving, that they're going to put the strength of that opinion online, and we sort of just have to stand back from it, really.
I think the important thing about social media for us is that, you know, normally with a TV show, you exist for an hour. The hour you're on air, you exist, people sort of talk about it within that time. But with social media, and because we embrace it so much, and we've got a digital team that are embedded within the production, and in the same way that sort of Mark and Ian are sort of looking at the show and thinking about how they can write from a script point of view, our digital team are doing exactly the same thing, and they're looking at the show and they're trying to pick out bits that they can either seed in advance of the show going out that night. So we'll do an edit in the morning, and then they'll look at that edit and they'll cut together a first look clip that then goes out. And basically everyone, you know, some of those clips were getting like, you know, 2 million, 3 million people watching it. And you're kind of, that's great marketing for the show, but it's also keeping that conversation alive for the 23 hours that we're not on air. Yeah. And so we put stuff out there, but then the conversation just happens. It's mostly Caroline. She's the biggest fan.
Yeah. No, it is insane. I don't think I've ever in my whole social media life seen a show have such a big reaction ever. Like, I'm 24 years old and I feel like everybody from my age, my mum's age, even my nan who's Swedish, she barely knows what's going on here. She was obsessed with it as well, and it's incredible. It's massive. How did you guys find it, being a part of it and knowing that you are topics of conversation during the show? Caroline especially, because you can see it going on. I suppose you guys don't really have a phone.
No, you don't know. I mean, from a professional point of view, the social media side is so important because I use it to tease the show. If I watch the show before it goes out and I know it's going to be a good one, you know, I'll put out there, you've got to tune in tonight, so-and-so is going to happen. Yeah. From a personal point of view, I get really defensive when I see anything negative written about any of the Islanders because I feel like they're my family, especially the girls. And so I really have to hold myself back with, and I've learned that through my career, is it's always best just to say nothing. And actually, I'm more qualified in that than Love. So when they come out, I'm better at giving that advice. I remember saying to Terry in series 2, don't reply. You're going to come out and there's going to be so much stuff written online. The best thing to do, don't reply. And with Love, I won't give them any advice. Yeah,
you do that bit.
But the social media is really important. You know, the chat that surrounds the show is as important as the show itself. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And Jack and Dani, I suppose you know that it's going to be massive and you know that there's a lot of people watching, but there's nothing that can really prepare you for how many people are going to be talking about you and messaging you. And how was that feeling coming out and actually turning your phones on for the first time?
Oh, God,
that was scary. When you first turn your phone on, you're just waiting for it all. I know, you just have to not get so addicted to it, I think. Like, you just need to, like, put your phone down sometimes because it can become like, oh, what are they saying about me? And it is offensive. Like, people are so lovely and so supportive and make you feel amazing, but then people can make you feel awful as well, and it really does affect you. So you just have to sometimes just think, just don't reply, because you just... Like, your initial reaction, you want to be like, what? And then you think, no, don't get hairy, just don't reply. Like, you just have to just put it down and just, you know, focus on you know, people that
Real
really
life.
matter, you know?
100% same with you, Jack.
Yeah, it's weird. Like there could be like 100 lovely comments, and someone like one think it's not nice, and you only look at that one.
Yeah.
And you go, how rude. Like
It is typical.
it's
That,
weird. Like, you know what I mean?
How rude. That's
Yeah.
how you should respond next time. Say how rude. You're mean. Yeah. And going on to the app, that did really well as well, and that's kind of like a new addition more than the older series. Who came up with that idea? How much
We've had
help
the
has that
app
been?
from the first
Oh,
series.
have you? Okay.
Yeah, it's been from the first series, and it was, you know, again, that was part of the rethinking of the show, you know, in 2015, where we were sort of coming back. You know, the way that the audience that we were trying to connect with connects with the world is through their phone. So traditionally we'd done sort of voting via sort of, you know, people would ring up and do all of those sort of phone numbers. We wanted a free app where people could just vote. And we pretty much just got a free app to vote on the first show, because that's all we could afford. But we wanted to evolve it, and it's evolved sort of in line with all of the social media and in line with digital. And sort of each year it gets bigger and better, and there's sort of more on there. There was a shop on this year. You could buy the water bottles, you could do everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you could see all the clips. You could follow, you know, you could follow Jack and Dani's story from the beginning. There was a kind of a whole montage of all of that, and for each couple and each islander's thing. Yeah, go on the app, it's still there.
I'm going to download it now.
Have a look at your love story. You can save it for the wedding. Just there.
I mean, it was really, really important, and I think that was really important to us, and we had to struggle quite hard because no one wants to pay for an app, and it sort of that was like the ball that kept getting thrown around to every sort of different department, but eventually we managed to sort of get it. And it's grown.
And you've even got a Love Island game. Is that you guys, or is that somebody separate that's made it?
So we've licensed the game. We've got you've got a game. You could be an islander.
Yeah, I've actually completed it.
Have you?
I've never played a phone game in my life, and this is the only one. Now I've gone on to some other ones similar, but Love Island game, I got involved in it. And it's so bad, I was spending actual money on it, buying outfits, making sure I look good for the coupling up. So bad. My friends are like,
you could go and relive the whole experience. You download this, and it's the game, and you basically can become a female islander.
Yeah.
So I was going through the scripts, going, how excited can I actually get about buying this different swimwear?
I was involved because you need to have a good outfit for the recoupling, otherwise you might not get chosen, and you've got to mooch with everyone. I got my couple. Yeah, I did.
Tonight then.
Yeah, it's really good. It is addictive. It's kind of like a mix between Sims and then like actual Love Island kind of thing. Multiple choice. It's a great game if you want to check it out. I'm even watching Love Island Australia at the moment as well, which is massive and really addictive just because of the accents and stuff you're about. It's amazing. Addressing issues online and stuff, because obviously you get loads and loads of lovely comments, and as you were saying, everybody's super involved, and there's memes and big discussions and things that go viral, but then it's also open to backlash on certain topics. And I know there was a thing about Adam's gaslighting situation, in quotes, and how do you deal with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, I think there were a lot of people that when you're a successful show, I think you'll find that a lot of people want to thrust their issue onto your show. And it goes back to Helen's point at the beginning. We take the sort of health and well-being of all of our cast really, really seriously. And so we're watching it 24/7. We've got people in there, we've got people who are just dedicated to watching it for their well-being. And so if anything is really kind of unsettling, or if we're kind of worried about any sort of behaviour, we step in and we're talking to them, and we're kind of having a conversation to say, are you all right? And the incident with Adam and Rosie, the one that kind of sort of hit the headlines and got this sort of gaslighting sort of moniker, which I thought was really unfair, because actually Rosie wasn't a victim. And Rosie, when she came out, was really, really surprised by that whole situation. I think she said she on After Sun. And it was kind of, it sort of, for me, it undermines the whole seriousness of that issue if you're trying to sort of put that tag on something within our show, because it wasn't that. From my opinion, it wasn't that. And more importantly, from the opinion of the people within the villa and the people who were involved in that, it wasn't that. It was just two people having an argument about their relationship and discussing their relationship, and sometimes that does get emotional, but it was in no way, you know, the mental bullying that it was given or made out to be. Yeah.
I suppose it's just something that comes with reality shows. You show everything, so there's going to be people that are going to have something to
People
say about
want
any
to
of it.
put their cause and sort of have it associated with the show, because you can kind of amplify it and bring it to the public consciousness. And I think that's great that an entertainment show can have these issues discussed. I think when the issues are discussed in a not very positive way. I think all well and good if our show can highlight certain issues and have people talk about them. But the trouble is it sometimes doesn't get talked about in quite a sensible way that you'd hope it would.
Yeah, understandable. And After Sun, Caroline, plays a big part in everything. I've been on it myself, love it. That's kind of like your time to speak to the guests and have a one-on-one, and it's the first proper interview that you do see with the Islanders. How have you found that whole process and how it's changed and grown throughout the years?
It's great, because as we said, the chat that surrounds the show is as important as the show itself. And it gives everyone a chance to kind of talk about what they want to talk about. And we use the show, more importantly, to ask the questions that the viewers want to ask. And so social media, again, comes in so handy, because we will put out questions beforehand and people write in what they want to know. So everything we ask the guys who come on the show is from the viewers. And that's really important. I don't want to be the kind of person that avoids all the questions. I also don't want to be the kind of person that kind of digs at you and gives you a hardcore interview, because we're not that kind of show. We can be a bit more serious on the main show, but when it comes to After Sun, it's a bit more about having a laugh, having fun, and kind of sorting out issues in a fun way rather than a serious way. And it feels like it's always been around, After Sun, because you don't get many spin-off shows anymore. They used to be around for a lot of shows, and because of social media, you don't need them as much because you get your extra material online. But with After Sun, I feel like we do need it, because you need that chance to talk about it, because that's all everyone's doing all week. And you get 1 hour to kind of discuss, have a laugh, and get it all sorted on the Sunday. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and you get the behind the scenes also, and the polls, so everybody can get involved. And how did you guys find your After Sun experience?
Was our first one live?
It was the final.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the
a bit different.
final.
We didn't get to go on that one. Not until the final, of course.
And the live finals as well, that's a massive thing. I feel like that makes it so much more special, knowing that everybody's there, you fly out some audience members, and watching that is like, I had a viewing party at my house, literally about 7 girls sat there like, even though I did feel like we knew you were going to win, it's still that suspense of like, what's going to happen, who's second, who's third. Who made the decision to have a live final?
When we did the first series, we had a sort of live show every week, and then we quickly got rid of that. But I think there is, because it is a fast turnaround show, there is something fantastic about a live final, and one where you can all find out together. So I think it was, from series 2, we've always had that live final, and it's the one thing that you can do with the show, and create that sense of excitement.
Yeah.
They were like big screens. I didn't even know there were people putting up big screens in cinemas.
It was amazing.
You could buy tickets.
Yeah, it was huge. I know a lot of brands did like viewing parties in cinemas, and people had like literal garden parties with it on a big screen and stuff. So it's like a national treasure show, basically. Everybody's like, Love Island. It's huge. And now going forth, knowing that you've got such a big show and how successful it's been, do you feel like you're going to change many things in the future, or is it like we've got something that works, let's stick to that?
Well, that discussion's coming. I think we make I'm a Celebrity as well, and I think the trick to these shows and keeping them going for a long time is to not change them too much, because I think it's a bit like a brand. If you were to sort of change the name of Mars Bar or whatever, people would be outraged. So I think if we were to change Love Island too much, people would be outraged. But I think because it is such a flexible show, as Tom was saying earlier on, so much of it is unwritten. There are kind of not that many format points to Love Island. It is put singles in, have them couple, have them dump, do the dates. So there's all of those sorts of things, and then everything else is up for grabs. So there is so much flexibility within there. And because we don't really write that much in advance, most of it is, we've prepared a load of challenges, we've prepared, Casa Amor has appeared twice. Who knows what we'll do, next year.
Casa
I don't know.
Amor is a good one, though. I feel like that is when things start to, really. Bless you, the most stressed out I've ever seen.
I was just like, why?
There's a whole nation watching you sleep on that sort of swing bed outside.
I know.
While Dani was just sort of like fretting about what you're up to.
I was getting seasick on it. I was laying down, it was moving. It was moving.
And final question for everybody, I suppose we can go down this way. What's been your favourite moment of the series?
Well, I think probably my favourite moment of last series was something we hadn't done before, was the beach club, which happened relatively near the end of the series. And I think for me, the beach club, it sort of sums up how we make the show, which is that we knew we were going to do this beach club thing, but literally it was a day before when we actually worked out what that would mean and what the dilemma would be that we would throw at Georgia and Sam and how that would all work. And I just think it was great because obviously Caroline's appearances are completely out of the blue in the villa, but even more so when we've taken them out to a party.
One of my favourite moments is actually Georgia saying to you, no, sorry, not right now, Caroline.
Oh, she said that a few times.
So funny. No, Caroline, babe. So you don't have a choice, hon. We've got to go. Amazing. That was a good one. How about you, Helen?
I think for me it would be Georgia and the kiss, and had she gone in again. I think the whole debate around that. I mean, literally watching the show, my WhatsApp was just going mad of everyone going, what really happened? What really happened? And I just kind of, I was just loved as a view, just the whole Laura dynamic with Wes and Josh. I just found it really, from a female point of view, I love the opening up of, you know, is the grass greener? And also Laura fronting it out and having really bold conversations. I thought that was really impressive.
Yep.
Am I allowed two?
Yeah, go for it.
I think the return of Casa Amor and Josh returning back with Kaz was sort of one of those moments that defines Love Island, which is sort of when you know it's coming as a viewer, and you know that moment, and Georgia, bless her, isn't one to sort of let her feelings sort of bubble under. And so, you know, it was the whole #loyal moment, and that was fantastic. And I think the other thing was these two, and sort of the love story from day one was sort of massively, you know, the whole nation fell in love with you two, falling in love. And I think that was kind of, it's nuts, but it was, you know, it was great.
Lovely.
Oh, yeah, Casa Amor, definitely, when Jack walked back. I was waiting for them just to have that cuddle straight away. I like the nice moments. For me, it's a really, it's a really weird moment. I know, but do you know what? For me, it was Megan's declaration to Wes, because she is an example of someone who wasn't very open with her feelings at the beginning. She wasn't very confident in herself as a person with other people. And all of a sudden, for the first time ever, she fell in love and felt like she had the confidence to tell someone how she felt rather than hold it back. And that was the moment for me that gave me a little tear. I loved that.
It was lovely watching Megan come through and her growth throughout the series, and even seeing them now. I saw them the other day and I was like, oh my God, it's real. Like, it is amazing. Dani, how about you?
I think with the, you know, when we did like the prom thing with the dresses, and that was really nice, and the declaration stuff, because that was a really emotional night, because it was like our final night all together. So it was like our final night. We all was like, oh, this is so sad. Like, I've woke up with you nearly every single day. So it was, definitely like the final night. And the hot air balloon, I like that one.
The hot air balloon was
that was really
nice.
nice.
Have you ever been on a hot air balloon before?
No, I loved it.
It's quite scary, I thought. Like, when you actually see how high up, well, obviously it's really high up, but when I was watching, I was like, oh, I think I'd be sick.
I just kept wanting to look down. I was like, oh my God, it's brilliant. I love that.
How was it? Did you have a cameraman literally like right next to you, or was it you?
No, he was like opposite.
Okay.
But it's so weird. Like, in the end, you do like.
You don't even know.
You don't like.
You go in your own
in front of a camera, like, you think it's so
I don't care about cameras. I put it on anyway. I'm like, it's fine. Like,
YouTube series next, maybe. Follow you around, blog a life. Who knows? We are going to open up the questions to the audience. So if you could just raise your hand, and then I'll give you a point. Okay. Oh, okay. The mic has to reach.
In the years before, I feel like there's been loads of conversations, a lot of good gossiping around having a cigarette, and I think that kind of just completely stopped this year. And I do worry if you're all like in a cabin having a cigarette, like going off one by one. I'm like, are we missing out on some really good conversations? Can you repeat that? Or
yeah, who wants to answer?
You can talk about the logistics of smoking.
Well, look, we made the decision in the last series that we wouldn't have smoking within the villa, and that the Islanders would go one by one. And I genuinely don't. I mean, I saw a lot of that comment online, but I genuinely don't think that anything was missed, because people would still have the same sort of things that they wanted to talk about. And when they went to have a cigarette out at the front of the villa on their own, there was sort of no outlet because there was no one to talk to there. So they'd still come back in. And I think they genuinely would have the same conversations back in the villa, but it just wasn't in that sort of smoking area setting. So I don't think anything was missed. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, I suppose that is if they were together outside smoking,
Yeah,
then you may miss
yes,
stuff. But if you're on your
yeah.
own, you can only talk to yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, no. Another question? Yep.
This is a
sorry.
question for Jack and Dani.
Oh.
When you were in the villa, how much information were you given from the outside world? And did you know about England in the World Cup?
No.
I didn't know.
Nothing.
Gutted.
You don't know no information at
No.
all. Literally nothing.
You can't just live in that moment there.
Yeah.
You? Sometimes you forget about the outside. I was like, oh, I like it in here.
I'll
Stay here.
No stress,
New
no bills.
minders come in. They sometimes bring information, but
oh yeah.
We used to try and pin them down in a corner, but they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
Some everyone's probably so nervous about being there, they don't really think of saying anything.
Yeah.
I kept asking about the score though when people was coming in. How are we getting on?
Did you get any information?
Yeah, but they just told me the score.
Score was this.
Yeah.
England are doing
Yeah.
right. Okay. Next question. Sorry, I forget there's a guy who's got Passover.
My question's for Caroline. Basically, how did you get into presenting and how could I go about it?
Ooh, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Yeah. I feel like I'm quite ancient now when it comes to how I got into TV, because I made a show reel with my twin sister and we walked around my village. This is so boring. And talked about where I lived. But it was when you did it on VHS. So my show reel was on VHS. Amazing. And I basically cut something together and sent it to every single agent I could find in a book called Contacts. And the agent who took me on at the time was the only one who replied to me. And from then on, yeah, I just... it took me 2 years to get my first job. And that was a job about football. And I didn't know anything about football, so I had to learn. And yeah, you kind of just learn your craft, really. I kind of learned from that. Each job you went on to was different. You sort of learn more and more about the way TV works. I did 3 hours live of kids' TV every Saturday, so then you learn how to do live TV. And it just went on from there, really, yeah. But it was I suppose now it would be very different. You would upload something to YouTube and you could start your own podcast or you can start your own channel. So it's completely different to how I did it. But in a way, it's similar because you're just kind of putting out there the kind of things you want to do.
I want to see the show reel.
Do you?
Yeah, where is that?
I think I just talk about a village donkey and that's it.
Brilliant. This is my village. I love that. But yeah, it is exactly the same, I suppose, not VHS, but you put stuff on YouTube now of you around your village, if you have one. Maybe. I don't know. Next question. Yeah.
Hi, I just wondered in the casting process if you have a kind of idea of who might get together and who might like each other.
Yes, but we're always wrong, always wrong. I mean, we do try, and that is probably something I should have said with the casting process, that we are always thinking about the matchmaking side of it is something that we have to have in mind. And you sort of, as a team, we'll all have completely different opinions about who might end up with who. I think I'd like to claim I had a sneaking hunch that there was a possibility that these guys might come together, but you just don't know, you know, until people are in there and until they meet face to face, it's impossible to tell. And that does make, you know, in terms of the new arrivals that go in, that's an absolutely key part of that decision, because you're thinking at that point, who is the right person to send in at this point? Which relationships are potentially maybe a little bit rocky, and therefore, which relationship are we going to test by putting in someone who we know is that one of that couple's types? And that's the point of sending them in. Are they going to be able to have their head turned? So.
Like with Josh and Kaz.
Yeah.
Knew straight away. Because that's the thing I actually wanted to know. When you send in the new people, do you send them in based on who they fancy, pretty much?
You think about, we always know, and the casting team are constantly on the phone to the pool of people that we have sort of waiting in the wings, to find out who they like. So yes, there is a part of that decision which is, okay, we think that, or Kaz has said to us that she likes Josh. Well, we're not sure that how strong Josh and Georgia are. This is the moment to find out. Okay. If Kaz can turn Josh's head, then it wasn't meant, Josh and Georgia weren't meant to be.
Yeah.
But it isn't always about that. Sometimes it is about which is the right personality to, you know, that you feel that you need an injection of energy or something like that. Yeah. And then you look at the pool and think, okay, well, that person could be the right person at that particular point.
Got ya. Okay. Next question. I'll stay on that side and then move over so it's easier with the microphone. That one.
Hi, this is a question for Jack and Dani. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
So you're being watched by millions of people, and Love Island is such a popular show. Did you guys ever feel the pressure to create drama? Were you ever like, I really want this to be the best Love Island season ever?
No.
No, if anything, you don't want drama.
Yeah.
Just for your own, for your own mind. You're like, oh, I can't be bothered for the ag.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with it. No. If anything, you don't want it. Yeah. You know.
No, I'll just be myself in it. I don't really think of that like that. Just don't think of it. You just existed every day. Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, you don't think of it like that. No.
There probably were some people in there that were like that, but I don't think you two, judging from the
I can't be bothered.
Fair enough, thank you. Next question, yeah. You with the floral. Yeah.
You with the floral.
I don't want to point and be like, yo.
With the floral.
Going back to casting, how do you decide who are going to be your kind of original Islanders and which ones to have waiting in the wings? Because sometimes the odd person comes in the penultimate week and you think, God, I really wish we'd seen them from the beginning because I think they've got a lot of potential.
There's sort of no science to it. It's just, we all sit in a room and we look at...
It's the best meeting of the year, where you basically have lots of pictures of all your cast. We have about 40, I think, at that point. Yeah. And then we shuffle it around, have a big argument for about 2 hours, then carry on arguing, and then it changes the next day. It's just, it really is lots of backstory, lots of opinions.
I think one of the key things, though, to your point about seeing people later on who you think might have been great at the start, is that is quite deliberate, because what you don't want to do is go through the series with the sort of, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but the sort of calibre of your cast members going down. They need to be as engaging as the people that go in on day one. They need to be, and in some ways more so, because they've got to go in with the spotlight just on them, and they've got to be able to hold their own. So people going in week 6, that's an incredibly tough thing to do. So, yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. So you're sort of looking for the people that you think will have will feel comfortable and will embrace that and will kind of give it a go. And also, because the casting process is ongoing, there were quite a lot of people that we didn't meet until we were well into the series. And then it was suddenly like, okay, that person, in another year, maybe they would have been in the opening lineup, but they're here now and they're great and they're single. So we need to put them in the villa.
Is there anybody that you held off for like maybe a future series?
No, but there are people who we've met and then they've not ended up in that year, but they've ended up in subsequent years because the relationship has started or something's happened and they haven't been there.
Sweet. You, black top, blonde hair. I'm going to end up doing
Love
it
it.
now. Yeah, the one with the shades.
Hiya. Has it ever been part of the discussion to include people in the island who are queer, bisexual or trans?
There's been this question's been asked a lot, and the fundamental problem with casting across the sort of across that range is it's a dating show. So everyone within this format has to be, because this is a heterosexual version, has to sort of fancy members of the opposite sex. We've had people that have been bi in there before, but really the only way to do Love Island and include gay people is to do a gay version, which we'd really be up for doing if ITV2 wanted to do it, because I think that would be fascinating. But you basically, the way the show works is that everyone has to swing the same way, It's kind of the truth.
Okay, thank you. Yep, down here. Stripey.
I'm really interested in those quintessentially Love Island phrases like crack on, turning my head, those kind of things. I'm wondering do those phrases come about naturally?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Look at us, we don't come up
Yeah.
with those questions.
If we did, it would be a very different
We're like
show.
asking young people, what the hell does that mean?
Series 1, we didn't know what mugged off.
I mean, we are the worst. We're kind of going, what are they talking about?
Doing bits was definitely this year.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
bits,
Yeah.
Doing Bits Society.
Yeah.
Is there any merch coming out of that? Do you know? Is Wes taking that?
I mean, you need to go to Primark
Go to
and see what
Primark.
the
It's
t-shirt
like-
Oh, really?
They have
Yeah.
reactive T-shirts.
Yeah.
So every week you go, right, this week we want, Do Bits Society. Or,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. We work closely with the commercial team, and so pretty much 3 times a week we'll be messaging what we all think is the key phrases of that particular week. So yeah, Do Bits Society features on his t-shirt. So does I Sell Pens.
Yes.
So,
I Sell Pens is very popular.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, "But you've got one as well, haven't you? Shoney wears it to bed. Yeah, wear it out. Wear it out.
Press shoe, I wear pens. Thank you. Yeah, over here.
Hi. From a narrative point of view, were you worried at all that we basically knew Jack and Dani were going to win from the beginning?
I don't think we did know that. I think people felt that, but there were a few sort of bumps in the road. The Casa Amor was a big bump. There is no certainty that these two were going to make it to the end as a couple, because you just don't know. So I think hugely popular all the way through, but we tried to put enough things in to test you.
Yeah. Few spanners. Just a couple. Thank you. Yep, up there.
Hi, there's a question for the production team. Can you tell us, thank you very much for touching on what the writers do on the show. Could you tell us how one would get in, how budding comedy writers could get in to write on things like Love Island and other reality shows?
Yeah, so Mark Cowley, who is the writer, Mark Busk Cowley, I should say, he actually works with us. He's full time, so he works on I'm Celebrity and he works on other things. But there is always access for writing. Sometimes we open up that group of people. Often they come from a development side. So a lot of people in writing, and Mark does that. So when he's not writing, he's developing ideas, and we find that a lot of people come through the development route into writing and write on those shows. And not all of the reality shows have a writer. I think we're quite rare on that, in the fact that we think the script and the comedy voiceover is so important that we have someone on it. And it just so happens that Mark works with us all the time, and we work on him when I'm a Celebrity as well. But it is a hard thing to get into. So I think Mark came through the development route and then turned into a writer, if you like.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, another one for the production team. So you've spoken a lot about the producers that are involved. How much goes into the direction? So for example, when you have like those key conversations, like what the Islanders do, how do they know where to sit? How do they know where to go? How much goes into that preparation and briefing for them?
That is where the sort of more constructed element does come in, and that is where we have, and that was one of the reasons for doing it, that the producers in the villa, to some extent, are stage managing the directing side of it and where things are going to be shot. So it might be that a briefing might happen where a producer would say to Jack, okay, you've told us that you want to have a conversation with Dani about X or Y. Why don't you just wait, because we want to get everything sort of set up, and then when we're ready, we'll give you the nod, and then you take Dani to, let's say we've decided that the day beds are the best place to do it. And so Dani wouldn't necessarily know anything about that. Jack would just come up to her and say, oh, can we go and have a chat? And then take her over to the daybed. So we do use that villa producer to do that, to allow the directors to, because on I'm a Celebrity or Big Brother, you basically, as a reality director, you're just trying to follow what's going on, and you might well miss the top end of a crucial conversation. And that was something that we decided back in Series 1. We didn't want to be in that situation. We wanted to make, our production values we were aiming for were very high, and we wanted to make the show look the best that it could possibly look. And to do that, it meant that we felt, right, okay, we will at least be able to dictate where certain conversations might happen. And, you know, another example might be that there's been a vote going on in the villa and all of the islanders are deciding between them which couple that they think is the weakest couple. And we would place those couples and make sure that we got the coverage, the best coverage that we could possibly get. So to that's sort of where the whole idea of the villa producer came from. And then it evolved beyond that into them being a confidant as well.
Thank you. Yep, down here. Oh, okay. Sorry, everyone.
In terms of wardrobe and styling, is everything really in that pink suitcase, or how does that work?
You should shove as much as you can.
I always thought that. It's a lot of pressure packing for a whole month, but you do have some stuff brought in.
We have stuff brought in, and we had, this year we had a commercial partnership with Misguided. So I think the thing is that you take in a lot of your own stuff, plus other things that have been selected from our commercial partners, and then, yeah, there are drops.
Yeah, we have drops coming in like once a week, and then
girls
like,
got
as
so much
girls
more
we
than
just
us,
throw
though.
it around. Like, I don't like this. Do you like it? It looked better on you. So we used to just do it as girls, and it was nice because everyone wanted to share.
You end up sharing your clothes in there, though.
There was one shirt that constantly went round every male island.
I've still got it. I love it. And we all just started wearing it.
Whose shirt was it?
Originally.
It was Millie's, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know whose shirt it was originally now, but we all just started wearing the shirt.
Did anyone swap shoes? There was a trainer, like
There
a
was a
huge trainer. Yeah, that I noticed.
No, yeah, they was just Sam's, I think. I let Dr. Alex wear my trainers. He looked well cool in them. He was like, oh, these are good, aren't they? I was like, I'll wear them.
When I was watching, I was like, oh, they've all got Gucci trainers. Look at them guys. But no. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for your questions. Thank you to our amazing panel. And also, congratulations on a very, very successful Series 4. All of you did incredible. So another round of applause. Okay, all right. And we can leave. Yeah, thank you. Off we go in single file.